So it's a women only Wednesday, guys. Oh shit, my phone just fell off. Hi, Adamo. Good day to you. I hope everything is well. Hi, Skypers. Heidi, hi. Hi, Beth. Good day, crew. Good day, squad. I had a busy morning this morning. My Range Rover has been in the garage for, oh my God, I swear it must be 2 months. Don't ever buy a Range Rover, guys. If you have one, sorry about it. If you're thinking about buying one, don't buy one. It's a fucking scam. Range Rovers are a scam. And this is so funny because this is the first time I've ever bought a British car. A British car. And this car has caused me nothing but problem. The universe said, oh, Fox, you should buy a Range Rover. And I said, why? I've already got another car. That told me to buy a Range Rover. They're lovely to drive, really comfortable. But the problems, not worth it. Not bloody worth it. Not worth it. So guys, today is a women's live. This is my first weekly women's live. And I really hope, actually, let me pull this down a little bit just so you guys can see some of the topics we can talk about today. Are we on the screen there? Let's make it a little bit up. A little bit more up. There, I think maybe we can see the same topics. So generally when I do the black panel, obviously I do have similar topics, but there are some prompts as well that we can discuss, things that we can discuss today, and what it's like to be a woman. And the things that we are doing with our lives, what are we planning, where are we going, things that are on our minds as well, all of these things. So when I think about being a woman, and especially being a woman in 2026, I'm understanding the role of woman is so much more important than a lot of people are willing to recognize. But the thing is, I think people do recognize. I think there is this subconscious knowing about what the role is of woman in 2026, because it's been that way for quite some time now. Of course, there is the men crashing out thinking, well, do you know what? We're not in charge of things anymore. We were told that we were supposed to be in charge, but now they're realizing that them being in charge actually hasn't helped people much, has it? No. And so now, as part of this new awakening that a lot of humans are having right now, it is understanding that there needs to be more women in charge. Then men symbolize war and destruction. That much is very clear. And women symbolize peace and love and unity. Water Goddess, good to see you. Yeah. Hi. So this is what we need to discuss more about, is how women are preparing themselves to go back into leadership roles. Because of course we were there before colonization, especially us as black women and brown women. We were in leadership roles. We were leading our armies. We were queens. We were commanding our communities. But then colonization happened and we lost a lot of our power and energy. And those people here who are British or perhaps pagan, of course, you know that through your spirituality and witchcraft and things like that, you were the healers, you were the seers for your communities as well. People used to go to the women for nurturing and for guidance and, for all of these things that they needed. But the insecure man decided to remove us from a lot of these roles, and we lost our identity as women. We lost it. So it's for us to find it again. And I can talk a little bit about how I felt like it has been my purpose and in my role for at least 20 years now, but I found it very difficult to find sisterhood in that and to find women who were actually on the same page of understanding. I found women, and I don't know if anyone else could relate to this, especially some women here, and what, again, Goddess, I'll ask you about it too, is that I found in my real life the more women that I've wanted to connect with, the more difficult they've made my life. I found my journey with women not to be very good at all. What about you, Water Goddess? What's been your experience about being a woman or being around other women?
Oh boy. Um, um,
I already starting that way. I'm going to get myself comfortable for your story. Go on.
yeah. Okay. Well, to preface, I am non-binary. Um, However, I am a femme. I look like a femme. I got the titties, and people think I'm a woman. So it's baked the fuck in. But also,
Yeah.
I also grew up around only white people, right? So I only had white women friends or white girlfriends always because there were no black people to be friends with. So needing to conform to the standard of whiteness to be a woman or a girl is already a thing in and of itself.
Yeah.
Um, and that then comes with the constant suppression of yourself because you also have to minimize your blackness to stay within the circle because otherwise you're completely alone. Um,
Mm.
so because I grew up completely different from my white friends, it was very patriarchal and very old school African, which I was very against, which was sort of aligned with them, but them not understanding the intersectionality made that incredibly different. Um, so then trying to, become friends with black women and black people and more introvert, I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe it's me, and it was me because I'm not binary, but like something is just not fitting here. It's very hard. Um, I don't, I don't know how to completely describe it because I love women and I love being around femmes, and would never give that up for anything. But they also hurt you so much more than any man ever could.
Yeah, I think it's the expectation, isn't it? It's like you expect women to be more supportive and to be more loving and to share, um, experiences, and so it hurts more when they do hurt. And that's how I felt it anyway. Is that when I've been really craving female friendships and connection, and then for them to turn around and backstab me, I have cried more over female friendships than I have over men. Like really.
Same,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah.
Because
It's sad.
unfortunately, I think a part of female friendship is also it is baked into us to fight over
Yeah.
men. It is baked into us to have hierarchy within ourselves so that the patriarchy will like us, yay. And that is just such
Yeah.
an integral part of being raised as a femme and socialized as a femme that it just
Mm,
hurts us even more.
yeah.
It's beautiful and
I agree.
gorgeous and also hurtful and, hard.
I agree. And as everybody knows, or some people know, or some people still don't know, like I'm a female dominatrix, a financial dominatrix, and female domination, I really thought would be a brilliant way to connect with more women because, we're dominating men, right? Like we're dominating men, and this is about feminine energy and sisterhood and companionship and all these things. And I'm like, but why are you women being so hurtful and hateful towards each other, hateful towards me? You're pick me's. And when when money gets involved in certain things and certain careers, I've definitely found that women have not been able to hold the vibration of money. I found them to then become more competitive in a bad way, in more of the masculine energy way, which doesn't help us as a society. I've been more willing to or wanting to share the wealth or share knowledge and things that I know with others. But in my particular industry, I found it the hardest to do these things because women are so watching you and thinking, well, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Why? How has she been able to do that? How come I'm not doing that? And then all that lower vibrational stuff like jealousy comes in, and it's just not. I don't know. It's just horrible. It's just horrible because in my mind, I just see this beautiful utopia run by women where everything is just so lovely and rosy and I really want it to be there, and I believe it will. I believe it will, but it's just making sure that we're doing it with the right women and we're understanding people in their minds more and if they're healed enough. Like being healed is a very important thing. I'm just gonna say, mods, that you guys bought the water goddess. You bought Mr. Belt to ass. He actually tried to come up on the panel. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that guy? Why was the reason that you blocked him, water goddess? Water goddess?
I don't know that man. He asked a very inappropriate question. He said, "Why do you look like blackface?" And I said, "Oh, okay, bye."
Oh, okay. Well, good. Yeah.
That was
Like
weird.
he tried to come up on the panel. He did a request like, okay, no. Good dawning. Good to see you, dear. Good
Hello.
dawning. Hi.
How are you?
I am so well. It's been ages since we've
I know.
spoken.
I know. Well, I
Ages.
think it was the first time we spoke. Was that your first live?
I don't know. It was somebody else's live. So I'm going to tell everybody a quick story. So I think this was when I was first coming on TikTok. And then Good Dawning and I ended up in a spiritual space. I remember the conversation, kind of remember the conversation, is that only in the whole room, only Good Dawning and I were connecting, and it was like we could both relate to the spiritual elements of what the people were talking about. Because you remember, I don't know if you do remember, because I remember, is that they were talking about they were talking about religion, and then we were talking about some stuff to do with spirituality, and some of the people got very upset that we were connecting things in a different way. And I think I made a recommendation for something, I don't know, some kind of therapy or something, and they got so pissed. The people in the room. Do you remember this? Because I remember it like it was yesterday. Do you
I
remember
don't.
it?
I don't remember
You
it.
don't remember it? I
don't
remember it, girl. Yeah, I remember it.
Because
And that's how
I
I was
remember
like connect
the
with you.
first time I went on anyone's live to talk was your live. So
Oh wow, okay.
yeah.
Well, yeah, it was before then. It was when I first saw you. Because it was
Okay.
we were somewhere else. Yeah, we were somewhere else. And I just
Okay.
remember it being someone else's panel, and I was like, I'm connected with this lady. So yeah, that was it. So it's really good to see you. But yeah, I know that you have come up on mine once before, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's rare though, but here you are again. So I'm really happy that you're here. So
Yes.
today is
I have the time today.
Yes, it's late for me as well. Normally I've been doing mine in the morning, but I've
Yeah.
had a really busy day today, so I was like, let me come on a little bit more today. But this is Women Only Wednesday. Of course, we're talking about lots of different things, and we've got also Billy Kay. Am I saying that right?
Be like bonobos.
Oh, be like I like Belly Kay. I'm making it exotic.
That's
Be like
that
bonobos.
was a good attempt. It's because it cuts it off. It just says be like. I guess we can be like whatever you say.
Well, it's nice to meet you. Be like
Nice.
bonobos. Really nice to meet you. So, welcome again to the panel. Today is the first Women Only Wednesday. I have done a women's panel before, but now I'm going to start doing every Wednesday a women's panel, just so we can talk and share and discuss anything that's on our minds, anything in our personal lives, or anything that you see out in the world as well. So yeah, is there anything that Water Goddess and I were talking about right now that sort of resonated in terms of difficulty in women's connection or female connections or
Absolutely. I just want to say
non-binary?
that, yeah, competition is is the basis of how the patriarchy stays in place. So when we're competing, we can't thrive, we can't collaborate, we're just stuck surviving, and that is why it's so difficult to reach other women. I have never really had friends. I'm phenotypically white and was raised, but mixed, and I was raised by really racist people. So when I tried to, whenever I tried to I didn't want to be friends with white girls generally. And then, I would get in trouble and called names and be more severely abused for, being pro-black basically. So it was really hard for me. I did, to find female friends, women friends. I hate saying female. I just did that again. But so I really appreciate this space, and I just think we're this women can't thrive in the system the way it is. It's extremely difficult. We need to, and I do think that humanity and the planet can only be saved through matriarchy. There's no other path, and that's what we were originally supposed to be. That's why we experience menopause and bonobos, which is why I do that. Be like bonobos. They're matriarchal. They're non-hierarchical, egalitarian, and that's the way we're supposed to be. And so I just really appreciate this space and for you having me. It's 4:30 in the morning for me, so I was
Oh,
groggily.
wow.
I know. I got up and then I just said, "Oh, don't go on TikTok. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get." But usually the wee hours are the ones where I find the best people. So I appreciate you. I'll follow for sure, and thank you for the space.
Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, it's always funny, isn't it, when you come on at a random o'clock and see what's going on in the rest of the world. I mean, it's like well into the afternoon where I am in my time zone, and it's funny because when I get normally the American ones, I think it's more in my afternoon time. I think I'm getting, so I must be getting the early morning American ones when I get, and so it's so interesting, but yeah. Talking about societal structures and matriarchies and how things are supposed to be, I'm really glad that at least now in this day and age, women are understanding again what the world was supposed to look like, or what the world actually did look like at one point, what it did look like, and trying to find out how we're going to get there. And it is obviously very difficult because the world has become very patriarchal, incredibly patriarchal. So now it is very much a case of making sure that we're having our spaces and having our conversations. And as I mentioned, being a dominatrix, is that I've had thousands of men come to me for about 15 years now, saying this is meant to be matriarchy. Women are supposed to be the ones who are leading. And it has been very unfortunate for them that they've only been able to experience female leads or women leads by coming to us in a fetish way, right? Because the society now still doesn't accept enough about women being the breadwinners, or women being the ones who want to lead. But also maybe women also might not want to lead in relationships. I mean, I can only talk about myself right now, is that I've been pissed off at men, like very pissed off, because I want to have a man who's gonna lead. He can make decisions. He's not like, well, I don't know, this a bit. Like, it's fucking annoying. Like, I want a man to lead, but it seems like women are just doing everything what men can do and even better than them. So that's why men have become quite defunct, really. They've become defunct. And so it's like, how are men working to understand that they also need to be good leaders and good partners and actually support the matriarchy? Because there's nothing to stop this now. Men have obviously been dying out. They obviously are, reproduction levels are the lowest they've ever been. So they need to make sure that they're making way and making space for a matriarchal world. That's what they need to be doing. But I don't think that they're maybe doing it enough because they're too busy working on themselves. And that's only because women aren't dating them anymore. So they're going more back into themselves, which is a good thing. And also women are going back into themselves more as well. So both genders and everybody else in between is also just trying to, I think, just do more for themselves. But also, if you become too insular, you forget and you don't see the rest of the world, which is also a problem.
And speaking of insular, the system is insular. It's designed to protect itself. It's self-protective, so it doesn't, it doesn't allow for the kind of leadership that we need. Because to me, leadership should be based on consensus building and the common good of all those involved. Not, I know what's right, and the kind of the authoritarian because I said so. It's like a parent who says because I said so. Not, with leading through wisdom and, and knowing that the other person is protected, especially the most vulnerable. And, it's like someone said it, and it's really well said. patriarchy is like a pyramid, like a giant pyramid scheme, right? Where all the power and wealth and status goes to the top and everyone else struggles. And then, but a matriarchy is like concentric circles where the most vulnerable are in the middle protected. So it's just a model that I think will happen one way or another. I hope it doesn't happen through the destruction of so many, but we'll see.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It's really difficult to look at the world at the moment. And I only just saw that 2 days ago, Israel bombed Lebanon in quite a severe way. And it's really frustrating because it doesn't seem that there's anyone to stop that. And it does make me ask the questions as well. It's like, how is the matriarchy going to come through when the patriarchy is so destructive? I do believe that there is a higher power or something out there. Something out there that, there's a reason why so many of us have been awakened to now. I'm just going to mute you for a minute, Yinka, because you've got some background noise. I have to try and keep to, and those of you who are here who are spiritual, we receive some science from the universe regarding what it is that we're supposed to be doing and how we're supposed to navigate all of this nonsense. I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's something. It's something.
I have noticed that there's many people who have taken it upon themselves, myself included, to say no to certain things within the system that everybody's still abiding by. That may be, I would just say it, paying council tax, paying bills, TV license. People are saying no. They are saying no to the patriarchy in that way. We cannot vocalize it because we are shut down, but silently we can protest financially. And that is where our power lies. And as people start waking up and not fearing the system and realizing that the system only survives and is only successful when you give it your fear and you start panicking of what will happen. But I'm actually living that, realizing actually nothing's happening. They tell you the bailiff's going to come to your door. They tell you this is going to happen. Don't get me wrong. I studied common law. I studied the maritime law. I went through every single law that there is that relates to me living in this existence, and realized actually, no, I don't have to. I do not have to abide by that. Yeah. And you're not committing a crime because there is no victim. It's a victimless crime. So you give your energy to it. So when they send you a letter, you must pay in 7 days. You're giving your energy by phoning up instead of saying, well, I'm not responding to that letter. It didn't come through. I didn't read it. I read it, but I didn't read it. I didn't see that letter.
That's
Do you
it.
understand?
If you accept it, then
Yes.
that's when it's in
Your
the thing.
consent.
Yeah,
You are consenting to it.
Yes, there's certain things I am a bit too afraid. Like, I am paying my council tax. I'm paying because
No,
it
I haven't
actually
paid mine for years.
That's good, because before, so it's happened to me though that bailiffs have come around when I was in my when I was in a previous relationship a long time ago, and I was fresh out of university. I didn't know that I had to pay it, so I was like 21.
You don't know the laws that govern bailiffs.
Yeah, I didn't know. So the bailiff came, and actually I thought it was to do with my ex at the time, because I've never been in this kind of situation, but I thought it was my ex because my ex had heavy debt. And so let the person in. They were like, no, this is council tax. And I was like, oh shit, they're inside the house now. So then of course we paid it, and it was fine.
So you gave them consent to come in.
Yeah.
And once they've been in, they're allowed to come in again. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
you wouldn't let a stranger into your house. Why would you let a bailiff in?
Yeah, we didn't know. Oh, it was like a debt
Yeah.
collection thing, and I thought, oh, it's for my boyfriend because
But
he's got
Wait,
even
they
even
crazy
de-
debt.
even
once you give
even
consent, it's not irrevocable?
In the
No,
UK, I think
no,
it's
no,
not.
because
Yeah,
that's the way bailiff laws. If you look at the laws, you go online and
yeah,
research it now. Um,
yeah,
Basically, if a bailiff comes to the door, you ask them for an SAR, which is a subject access request, because due to the data protection laws, no company is allowed to sell your data to a bailiff. What the bailiff does is they buy your debt and then
yeah,
chase you for the debt. But they bought your debt. You're no longer in debt. They bought it. You didn't ask them to buy it. You didn't ask the company to get anyone else involved. You didn't give your consent. So they need to give you a subject access request to let you know how much information they have on you. And you can immediately go to the ICO and you're well within your right to prosecute them for coming onto your land, onto your property, harassing you without a subject access request, or
yeah.
you can take the other company to court for selling your data, and they have to prove that they've sold your data. It will cost them a lot of money, and they'll write the debt off.
It's kind of similar with parking tickets as well. Like if you've got a private
Exactly the
parking,
same.
yeah, private parking, because it's happened to me, where you just find like a copy paste thing online and it says, I'm not going to pay this, and you just don't pay, and then you don't, it just goes away. That shit goes away. I haven't installed a smart, so I've still got a property back in the UK, like my house back in the UK. In things like installing smart meters, I was like, I will never install anything like that.
No,
And do you know what? How much I've been paying a month on electricity and gas at my house back in the UK for probably about 6 or 7 years now. £30 a month. That's literally all I pay on my gas and electricity.
so
Thirty pounds a
the
month.
standing charge.
Yeah, I actually didn't set up any direct debit, and I'm just like, this is the bill. I put in the reading. I say, this is it, and this is how much you're going to accept, and
Yep,
that's it. They're like,
yep.
yeah,
You
cool.
you tell them
As long
this
as
is
you're
how much
paying the
I'm going to
bill,
pay you. Yeah,
yeah,
I only
and
pay
that's it.
electric. I only pay electric
Yeah,
at the moment. Not paying to be poisoned by the water companies.
yeah,
No, I don't
yeah.
agree with that. I have taken other routes with the water company and actually asked them to submit all the details of what is going into the water, what they're using to treat the water, what chemicals are being used. And I have that in writing if I needed to go to court. But they haven't chased me. They've stopped chasing me.
Good.
They
Water
threatened
goddess,
me.
you had your hand up, water goddess, for something you wanted to add.
Yeah, you brought up the boom boomings in Lebanon that were happening. If you go to Google Maps right now, the part that is not real boomed, all of a sudden there are no towns anymore. There are no town names on the maps. It's all gone because they're preparing, right? It's pre-preparation for it to already be it's not real and for them to name things. They've been doing this
Honestly,
with most of the countries and territories that they have. Like this is active colonization online that we can just follow,
yeah.
which is all patriarchy still. Like please,
Yes.
in the history of matriarchies, which we were before all of this bullshit, where were we colonizing people?
Honestly, and it's always the same group of people. We know who
Yes.
created Israel. It's the British and the Americans, the European
And, and
Americans.
they do that
Same
through our
people.
taxes and through our council tax.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Our
We're
taxes,
paying for
our
this.
money, funds
And that
all of
is
this
why
nonsense.
we must protest financially.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Speaking of that, in America, one of the things that people don't learn. So when we learn about the civil rights movement, we learn about Martin Luther King and Jr. and Rosa Parks, but we don't learn about Joe Robinson and Joanne Robinson. She was actually the strategic mastermind behind almost all of the action, and it was all economic, and it was all. But the thing is, her strategy, and if you look it up, there's a interview of her. It's about 30 minutes long, but it's really fascinating. She talks about well, basically any economic action, and that we do have mighty power, right? It is like a giant pyramid scheme. So actually, if we are able to organize and get together, we have mighty power in spending and labor and taxes. But and
Yes.
because but we don't learn about that. We don't learn. They don't want us to know that. They don't want us to know that we have power. So every time
Yeah.
we spend, so we unless we're strategically investing and divesting, if we're not every time we just spend indiscriminately, we're actually feeding into the oppression, feeding into the patriarchal predatory paradigm that is doing all this. And we are taught we can't fight back. We're taught that we don't have any power, that all we can do is vote or whatever. And it's just an illusion of actually having any power. But we do have power, and you're 100% right below me.
Absolutely.
Economic power is the key.
Yes, absolutely true. And I mean, I will say, and I always credit American people, like anyone who was in America, I credit you in terms of your activism and the way that you fight your government. I always say this as well, as I don't think British people fight their government at all. Honestly, I find them to be very submissive towards the government. I have been involved in various different activisms for probably about 30 years. Actually, no, from 18, so over 20 years. And I was always involved in like writing letters and doing various things. And the last time they actually protested properly was the council tax riots in the 90s. But now that when I was going to protest back in the UK, it's all kind of like a bit of a day out. Oh, let's hold a sign, let's dance. I'm like, but where is the government action? Like, where are you actually doing the thing that why we're all here together? There's like hundreds of thousands of us here. Where is the action now to go to the government and say, you need to do some shit? But people are too weak. So I've not really seen any like progress. And even online, I don't see enough conversation. I mean, these guys, everybody who's here normally, I'm always like, where's the action? Like, what's happening next? And I will talk about specific things about voting and la 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 la. And I'm like, but nothing's happening. Literally nothing is happening. And yeah, English people, British people are way too weak for this, and this is why the government has been able to run over them and do whatever they're going to do. But Yinka is also on the panel.
We're about to celebrate.
I'm just going to introduce
Sorry.
Yinka into the panel. That's okay. Yinka, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am lovely,
Great.
thank you. Lovely, lovely. So thank you for joining us on the
No,
panel.
thanks for inviting me. Thank you. Yeah.
No problem. Is there anything so far that you've heard that you want to chime in? And then we're going to go to also Be Like Bonobos, who's got some things that she wants to add
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
I'm 46 years old. And just to touch on what you said about, the England and Britain and the government and people not doing enough. I've grown up as an activist and doing so much and petitioning and climbing trees and doing, all those things. And, I soon learned that it was just not going anywhere. And then as I've delved further into my own gnosis and deeper into my spirituality and deeper into ancient knowledge, you see how it's so inbuilt that there's absolutely no way you can go there at all. That it has to be by your own little community that you do and the things that you do, that it all goes back to the self. And for the last 10 years here, I'm in the north of England. I used to be in the south, but I'm in the north now, and my whole life just collapsed down south. And I went through some things there, lost my business and moved up here and kind of starting again. And I've also been a lone wolf in my life, but I'm realizing, the reasons why, and I'm coming to a place where I'm able to bring the skills I've learned through my collapse, through being a lone wolf and all those things, and putting it back to my community. And it's just started so small with, my own rituals, and then kind of extending that to one friend and then maybe another friend, and using my garden to begin with, because I always felt I wanted to have like a wellness center where we could all get together, and it could be holistic, and we could be, look after each other. We could look after the single parents. We could have, schools. We could, this is like a big dream. And I've always been someone who didn't quite know how to make the dream come together unless it was in a grand way. So life has taught me to just really, scale it down and, make it smaller. And I'm just using whatever I have and starting really small, like a little tiny bell tent at the end of my garden that can have house a single mother and a child, or someone who wants to come for some just to clear their bodies, because I do Kambo and things like that, and just realign their bodies and cleanse their bodies, because I really believe that it starts with our temple, what we put into ourselves, because our guts, our mind, thinking right first, being grounded and thinking right, and then going from there. And so that's where I am. And it can be really tough, because you look around you and you think, oh my gosh, like I am just like fighting a losing battle. It just seems like just such it's just so deep. But then there are days and there are moments, and I love your lives. I try and catch your lives as much as I can, but there are days and there are moments where you feel like, okay, this can be done. And I really do feel it's women, it's with us. And when I look at like my grandmother, who's African, I've got Irish side as well, but my African grandmother was a spiritual woman, or medicine woman, you would call. And she used to tell us so many stories, and she was a writer. And part of the stories, she used to tell us about a time before the moon, and how women were all together, and the that we worked, as teams, and I was so young, I didn't really remember everything she said, but when I've researched it myself, it's to do with like parthenogenesis, how women
What's that?
can give. It's where we can give birth without the sperm. So there's some animals like the beetle. This is why the Egyptians revered the beetle, because the beetle is one of those animals that it does parthenogenesis, and there's other animals in the kingdom. And apparently we used to do that as women, but that knowledge is so almost like being lost. And the Dogon tribe talk about it. They talk about the time before the moon, and apparently that's a time when we didn't bleed as women, like periods were not natural. So there's this so much of knowledge and wealth, and I think that as women our voices have been so dampened. But I feel like when we get back into being ritualistic and understand the power that we have in our voices, no one else needs to know. We can do it quietly, and it doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be, but it can start small and it can grow, and but we definitely do have the power to do that. And I feel like more women need to be coming together to realize that. And the ones who have kind of gone through the initiation processes, which can be so tough, definitely should stand up and be, leading in that way, but not in a way that overpowers anyone, but leading in the way of bringing something to the table.
Yes, this is what leaders are supposed to be. They're supposed to be ones who bring people together for the knowledge sharing, for the support, for the nurturing. That's how it's supposed to be. But the problem is that when people dive too much into the masculine mind of hierarchy, and I mentioned this quite a lot about the alpha male to blah blah blah, alpha beta, whatever it is. If they're too much into the alpha mindset, it is about dominating others, which is not how we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be, like I say, on a level and connect wherever you can, on a spiritual level, intellectual level, physical level, whatever it is. That's how we're supposed to connect. But what happens is, of course, the ego becomes a problem, and then it just sends everything over the edge. And we've got too many fucking egos on this planet
and
that
trust.
are just running away with themselves. Yeah, trust too. Absolutely trust. Okay, be like bonobos. You got some things you wanted to add as well.
Yeah, when you were talking about, so on Saturday we celebrate the 250th year of the Declaration of Independence, but if you ask people, there's a warning in the Declaration of Independence. First of all, it's about equal human rights. Obviously, they were terribly flawed, but the basis was equal human rights and consent of the governed. That's what they were talking about. They said we hold these truths to be self-evident, like duh, everyone's created equal, right? So that's what they say at the beginning of it. But then they give a warning, and it's really interesting because the warning is history has shown that humankind will suffer evils as long as evils are sufferable, simply before changing that to which we have become accustomed. Once we get used to it, we will suffer evils till the very end. And look at where we are. I mean, just look at where we are. Look at what is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they go on to say we have one duty, and that is to alter or abolish any form of government that becomes destructive to equality or, to equal human rights or to our consent. And so we've got a warning and a duty too, but people don't even learn that. They don't learn it. It's like freedom. I'm like, no. It's not freedom for some, it's freedom for none. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello.
It's really difficult and complicated.
Hi,
And I'm
everyone.
loving it. I'm loving this conversation so far. Stardust, hello. Hello?
Hi, how are you? I would
Start.
like to add something.
This is a
Yes, how are
women's
you?
only. Do you identify as female, as woman? This is a women's only panel.
Yeah, I'd like to add something to point out why
I said,
I can add.
hello. This is a women's only
Yes,
panel. Do you identify as female, as woman? Do you identify as that?
yes, yes,
You identify as female.
yes.
So what are your pronouns, please?
I
What do
don't
you?
really have pronouns. I just identify as female.
So what
Oh,
should I call you,
should I
Stardust?
leave?
So
Should I leave?
if I call you she,
Yes,
yeah, that's
yes,
okay. If I call you a woman, I call you
yes,
she,
that's okay.
or are you non-binary?
I am non-binary.
You're non-binary.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So what would you like to add to the topic today then, please?
Yeah, I'd like to say that females are the original, and men are a change, an addition to a woman. To say this, look at the human body. Males have nipples, and nipples are echoes of
What
a
the fuck are
woman.
you talking
They
about?
serve
What's
no
that got?
purpose.
Wait, hold on a minute. I'm going to
Okay,
have some
okay, I'm sorry.
curious about, because I am very
Yes,
skeptical. I'm skeptical about your identity, right? And it's just because how you've come in, I'm skeptical.
okay, it's okay.
And
If I'm not welcome, let me just keep quiet and leave.
no, I didn't say that you're not welcome. I'm just skeptical. I'm just trying to know if this is actually meant to be your space, and if you are legitimately somebody who is actually going to be part of the space. So continue talking. It's just my flags have gone off a little bit, but do you want to continue
Oh,
talking and say what
I'm
you're doing?
sorry. Just let me explain. You see, in nature, the truth cannot be hidden by stories. It stands by
Yeah.
itself. So when people are taught that women came out of the rib, I do not ascribe to that because it's not natural. Everything that we know starts from the womb. We say mother nature, we don't say father nature. Even the
Yeah.
word father is a mistranslation. Father is supposed to be like nearer. Father suggests that it's far away. You see, when you start looking at nature and exploring it realistically, these things begin to make sense. Even within you, you have a masculine part and a feminine part. The feminine part is what grows, it's what expands, seeking connection. The masculine part is like for protection. It's what stops you from harming yourself.
But that's to
Now,
do
when I
with
said
the English language, though, isn't it? I mean, we're using English language terms, and quite a lot of us,
yes, you
or
see,
we know that this is spells, right? It's English language that has taken us. We know it's the English that took us away from our energetic selves, our spiritual selves, all of the
Yes.
ways that humanity was before they started to colonize and brought this barbaric language with themselves. So, yeah, learning things like mother and father is a very interesting one to look at, and
Yes.
it is.
Yes.
This
Yes.
is what we're trying to get back
I
to.
agree
It's
totally. Let me add something. The term human, initially it meant both man and woman. This is something you can research. Hue, the color,
yeah,
human. And then the color depends on carbon, the density of carbon in the body. And then they call that melanin to confuse you. But we are all the same with different concentrations of carbon. So when I say human, it already includes men and women in it. It includes pale human beings and deep human beings. So I don't think even black is something we should identify with. We are just deep carbon beings, or they are deep carbon beings and they are pale carbon beings.
yeah. I've
Yeah,
had this
that's.
conversation quite a bit this week about like blackness, because I run a black only panel as well on Saturdays. And a few, like one or two people have said, about identifying as black. But to be honest with you, I find it more important to actually identify through blackness at the moment. I think it is the easiest thing to connect us all and to reconnect us, because of course how black people or carbonated melanated people have been so like just disenfranchised, and of course we've lost a lot of our own identity. I find that
Yeah.
is something that is an easy way to connect ourselves, and hopefully one day we do go back to how we were before, where we didn't identify. But I think we need to find unity through that at the moment. But so does
Yeah.
anyone
Yeah.
else have any
Okay.
sort of like comments to make just about how they feel about being a woman in 2026, or if you identify as female? Like, what do you think it is like being a woman now in nowadays? Leanne, you're scared. Leanne, do you want to add some things into
Hi
this? Yeah.
guys.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
Scared. The reason why I say scared is because okay, let's unpack this. It's because of the country we're currently in and where it's heading. I can see where it's going. It feels like we're all gonna turn into slaves, and I'm genuinely scared. And then with regards to being a mom, like I'm actually scared for the younger generations. Like I'm actually terrified. What is
Yeah.
the world going to look like for my children? It's just, if I've experienced this in the UK and I'm only 31, and my children are only 7 and 8, and they've experienced that much that quickly, and they haven't even reached secondary school yet. Like I'm
Yeah.
actually concerned. Like I've been debating for a while, like I need to move like country, but I'm even thinking, what other country is there to go to? Because they're all just as bad as each other now. So genuinely, like, scared on the inside, because obviously you can't show your scaredness on the outside. You have to be resilient, you have to be strong, no matter what man takes you down, no matter the misogyny, no matter the racism, you still have to have the strong exterior front. And even like what's been coming out recently in the past week with regards to women. So we've had the Rupert Lowe inquiry, we've had the flipping Grapist gang is all being exposed right now.
Bloody
We've had
hell. Yeah.
flipping Epstein files that recently got exposed. We've now got I'm sure a lot of people saw the particular hospitals in the UK that are exposing themselves of they could have prevented a lot of mum and babies being unalived. Like, do you know how crazy it is for the UK to come out and say, yeah, you know what? A bunch of mums, that is your right to carry a child and give birth to it. Yeah, we could have prevented all of them dying. And then you have the partners that are having to hear that on TV and cry. The ones that are grieving, that don't have a child no more, and their partner, they now have to grieve that again, knowing that their partner and their child isn't here. Now you're coming to tell them, yeah, you know what, we actually could have prevented it in the first place. Huh?
It's sad. It's terrible, man. And this is the problem with the UK. It's all, we talk about this a lot, right? It's the propaganda about how they really hammered it home. We're a first, this is first world. They came up with this
Mm,
stupid hierarchy, first world, second world, third world, like all of those terms they come up with are now to their own detriment. You've been out here saying that you are the best and that you had all of this technology and you had all these ways to protect people. But when it's uncovered, it's like you didn't protect anyone actually, and loads of people have died, and you're also doing it willingly too, because even when we think about
Yeah.
things to do with COVID, right, they forcefully
Mm.
forced thousands of people to lose their lives during that time because they wanted to bring down the numbers and they wanted to have all their contracts and make the rich richer. So all of this stuff, they know and they knew that this was all happening already. But what happens is that black and brown people or people who are affected, we demand the inquiry, we demand the change, and then they have no choice but to actually listen and to do these sort of reports. But yeah, let's talk about that stupid Rupert Lowe inquiry for a minute now. And I think the most frustrating thing about this stupid country, there's so many things that frustrate me about England, hence why I didn't leave.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to give you some encouragement, Leanne. There are good places out there in the world. There's 195 countries, Leanne, and you don't have to stay in Europe. Just like come
I
out of Europe,
know.
come out of
I
Europe, you'll
know.
find a decent place. But this stupid Rupert Lowe inquiry is very frustrating because all this man is doing is just saying white men don't need to be accountable for anything. White
Yeah.
men, you continue raping, you continue in murdering. Go on, you can go and do that, and you can do that at home, and you can do it internationally because we will never be held accountable because we run the systems. That's
Mm-hmm.
all it is saying. That's all it is saying. It's not about actually chastising other people who are doing crime. It's about them. It is literally just about them saying they want to do whatever they want and not have any accountability or any punishment for it. That's why you got Donald Trump, number one murderer and PDF, in the highest seat in the whole freaking world. And that's how it is, unfortunately, at the moment. And yeah, the fear is palpable.
It's, do you know what
It's
it
really
is?
palpable.
It's just Fox that in any aspect of a woman's life, you're either not taken seriously enough or
Yeah.
you're never going to be listened to. For example, women that suffer with like PCOS and endo. I hear way too many horror stories of women suffering or going to their GP and their doctor, and nothing gets taken seriously
Yes.
until they have a life-threatening condition, and now you want to medicate them for life. You go to the police because a man's harassing you. Yep, here's your crime reference number. If he does it again, if it becomes harmful, just call 999 again. By the time you call 999, he probably would have killed you already.
Killed
But
you.
anyway,
Yeah.
what else can I think of? You go to school, you probably get bullied for your looks, which is why there's a lot of insecure women, sadly, in their 20s and 30s. And sadly, they go past 40s and 50s now, altering and changing their looks. The rise of BBL, the rise of lip filler, the rise
Yes.
of like women don't have a break. Women that in particular black women that rock the natural hairstyle. How many times have I heard the argument of, oh yeah, she's unattractive because her hair's curly or her hair's in her natural state? But you're the same people that say, oh, we love our black women, but you secretly, you really and truly don't, because when the black woman's in front of you, you actually pick apart her looks all the time. And to be honest, I do feel women, we are also slyly to blame, because I will be very, like, when I really think about it, women are the first people, we are the first ones to come for each other. When I really think
Yeah.
about it, obviously not everyone, I'm not saying everyone, but when you really think about it, it is a woman that is going to tell you about yourself. Like even on TikTok lives, whenever a woman's going back and forth with another woman, more time it's going to be about how she looks. She ain't got a
Yeah.
man, she ain't got a husband, she ain't got a house. Men, we expect that crap because a lot of them are narky, whatever. They're very insecure themselves. But like, it is, I find it worse to see when a woman does it to another woman, because it's like,
Yeah. I hate
we're
it.
probably all facing the same issues internally. We're just all not saying it externally because, we're all doing our day to day. But it's like, for example, I always hear this thing where when you're in a bathroom or when you walk past another woman and a woman gives you a compliment, why do we smile more when the woman gives us the compliment than the man? Like
Because you know it's
it's
genuine, you know, and they don't want anything
yeah.
from you.
Do you know what
They
I
don't want anything
mean?
from you. Yeah.
So
That,
it's
actually,
like
it's good that you brought that up, Leanne, because that's literally the first thing that we talked about, what Goddess and I today on the live, about being disappointed by other women and actually wanting a sisterhood and friendship and all those kind of things, but have felt ourselves very disappointed by other women in the fact that they have been doing the things that you've just mentioned, you know, and how much it hurts. Like we talked about
yeah.
the pain that you actually feel in the disappointment. Like I have a story that when I turned 40, like my 40th birthday 2 years ago, and I actually put this video on my page about it. So some of you might have seen this video and others probably haven't, but I'll try and tell the story really quickly. So I'd only lived here, I think, for about a year or two at this point, and a friend said, oh, you know what, we'll come out and visit you. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like they invited themselves that they were going to come out for my 40th. I didn't invite them. I wasn't really planning on celebrating. I was just very happy to move to my country. I'm very happy. They invited themselves. They came here. They made me cry. When you make somebody cry on their birthday, you know that's fucked up. On your birthday, right? Your one day where it's about you. There's 364 days around the rest of the year. They made me cry on my goddamn birthday. When they came here, they were all taking photos of themselves without me. We went to the spa. They left me in the spa. They didn't even like come and get me. I fell asleep. They didn't come and get me. What else happened? Oh, there was a bus. I booked a minibus and a car. They didn't even save me a seat in my own party bus for me. And I was just like,
Excuse
what
me?
the fuck is it? Yeah, I said, what the fuck is this? Yeah, it was so rude, so rude. And then, so the spa thing was the last thing, because when we were walking back from the spa, I was really sad because those few things happened and it was over the course of 3 or 4 days. And I was just so sad. And one of the girls said, you know, she said, you okay? What's up? I said, you just left me in the spa. And she said, don't ruin it for everybody. And I
Huh?
said, what the fuck? I said, what the fuck? So we came back here to my house. I sat everybody around the table. Honestly, it was horrible because I booked a DJ. And so a DJ was getting ready to have a pool party. It was going to be really cool. And I was like, I
Your
can't go
hard
into the
earned
spa.
money. Oh,
Yeah, I
don't
said,
piss me off.
when I organize stuff, I organize stuff. So like the DJ was here setting up, and I'm having to have my table's not round, but like a round table talk with my friends, saying like, guys, I said I don't want to hear any excuses, but like this is really horrible. Like you're making me feel really bad about this. And you know me, I'm there for every single one of you. And why is it that this one occasion that this is literally what's going on? And then they were like, oh yes, what did they say? I can't remember, but they basically kind of said, okay, yeah, sorry, la la la. And then after, guess what happened when they got back to England? Yeah, it's because you said I didn't want to hear any excuses, so you're like a crap
What?
person. And I was like, I knew that when you came here, you were just jealous. I knew that. I could see it. I could see it. And the thing is, I've been friends with some of these girls for 20 years. Like university, we're talking about long, long, long time. One of the girls, I even flew out to see her in Mumbai. She lost one of her kids, she lost her daughter. And I was the only one of the friendship group that actually went to see her, spent time with her, telling everybody, you know what, she's really struggling, la, 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 la. And I was always like that with friendship groups. And some people may relate to this. If you're a people pleaser, you do
Oh,
what you can for other
please.
people. Yeah, I learned my lesson. I don't do that shit no more. I don't please nobody. When you get burnt by the stuff, and especially by women, you just don't do it anymore. And honestly, it really hurt me for like a month or so after. I was like, this is really crap. Actually, it wasn't a month. My birthday's in October, and it all kind of fell out in December. Because after the party, I was fine. You know, I was like, I carry on with my life. I'm happy. But it was only because in December, everyone was saying Merry Christmas in a birthday group and I didn't really say anything. And also because one of the girls told me a week after that birthday party to meet her in another country. And I did. She invited me. She said, come on, let's go and have some fun in another country. Let's spend some time together. We were supposed to spend 7 days together. I was too tired after my birthday. I said, first 3 days, I know you're going to be busy. Let me catch you up with the last 3 days. How long did she meet me for? 30 minutes.
Hi.
30.
Minutes.
30 minutes. And I booked my flight, I booked my hotel. I said, yeah, we're going to do all these things together. 30 minutes on the last day is the only time she went. And I said, of course, I'm not going to this is done now. This is done. I said, I
Yeah.
can't believe that you hurt me like this.
Wow.
I literally came all the way to see you in Mumbai. I spent this time with you. You just went to your daughter's grave, like literally everything. And she
That's
spent
mad.
30 minutes with me. Yeah, 30 minutes. And because after I said, look, just to clarify, I messaged her saying, I just need a little bit of space because obviously I'm really hurting by what you've done. And then Merry Christmas came around, everyone was saying Christmas, and guess what? She removed me from our WhatsApp group. And then I, of course, messaged in another group saying, oh, do you know what? She's removed me from the group. I don't know what's happened, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I hope everyone's cool. If people want to keep in touch, fine. And then I get another long message from a friend. Oh, it's because what you did at your birthday party, you need to figure out what happened there. And I was like, what happened there? I know I was upset, but I got over it. And then guess what? I get a 16-page WhatsApp message.
Sorry.
Who's got 16 pages in their arsenal to say to somebody? 16 pages. I was mortified. Read more, read more, read more. 16 pages about
Who has
me.
that energy? Huh?
Yeah, stuff that I'd never even heard about. Things she was making up stuff about me. I said, Jesus. So that's when you realize that you've never been friends with that person that whole time.
Yeah.
20 years. If they have been storing up all of this stuff and they can say it, it was literally like fire, rapid fire, you know. And I was like, I read it all. And I said, it's going to take, and I texted her and I said, it's going to take me a little bit of time to read and respond. I wasn't hurt or anything because I'd been over it by then. And I was like, I'm going to respond to you, but I'm going to take some time. But then a couple of days went by and I said, well, there's no point me actually even responding because you've made up your mind about what you think about me and what you feel about me, rightly or wrongly. So enjoy your life. And then my spiritual awakening happened. I started to see them in my dreams, the two of the main ones who were my friends for 20 years, like doing really shitty stuff and talking about me. And I could feel that they were still talking about me after all this time. Even though I'd moved on, I could feel they were still talking about me because I know I left a huge hole in their life because we were close friends and they knew that when something was a problem, Fox would be there. And of course I wasn't there anymore. And as soon as I moved, I knew that one of the girls who actually I was kind of best friends with, when she was here, she cried that I was here. You know, I was like, oh, this is surprising to me. And I gave her a hug and everything. She was really upset because she shared everything with me. She didn't share it with the other girls in the group. She shared it with me. And so she ended up sabotaging our relationship. She sabotaged the friendship. But that's when I know it, when things are spiritual. Is that when you know, if you get to the end of any kind of relationship, whether it's friendships or in your family or in a romantic relationship, these things will take you so far so that you can reflect upon yourself and recognize where your strengths are and to be like, do you know what? I'm not connected to the story. I can then just appreciate all of the moments we spent together and know that just as independent as you can be in this life, it's the best way. And that doesn't mean to be hyper interdependent because you still want to rely on people, right? You want to seek out help from people and you still want to be able to make friendships and have connections. This is important, but it is a case of don't be too upset if everything does fall apart. It's because it was here to teach you something about you. And if you see the lesson in this stuff, then everything's okay. Everything's all right.
That's really evil what they did to you, by the way.
Yeah, it was mad evil.
That's so evil. But
It
you know
was
what? There's a
mad
thing,
evil.
I believe there's a thing, yeah, with women. I feel like women always see their true friends, no matter how many years, because yeah, I've had the same people that I've known for a long time, people that I've known short, same type of hurt. It's always when you are in your dream job or you've gone into like your own home, your own space, and like you've made your own space a home, or
Yes.
you found your partner that you're going to, I don't know, because some people don't believe in marriage. Let's say long-term partner, you find a long-term partner, you get married, when you have children, or when somebody in your immediate close family dies, all of those, and your birthday actually as well. Birthday is a big one. All of those occasions in your life, you always see people's real character, real intentions,
Yes.
despite you think, oh yeah, we've grown up together, like I've known you from secondary school. Sometimes that doesn't mean a damn thing. Just like you said, Fox, people be plotting and scheming. All of a sudden, something that happened 5 years ago, is now an
they drag
issue.
it up.
Something that
Yeah.
happened yesterday night is now an issue. Something that you don't even know happened.
Yeah.
Apparently you're involved. Your name was in the front and center. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, so really and truly, you were an enemy all this time. You were jealous that, I don't know, I've got a car, you don't have a car. Oh, I've got a house, you don't have a house. I have a husband, you haven't found a man. Like, what did I do to you? What did I actually do? Because I'm like you, I'm the same. I'm a people pleaser. And I genuinely, with my entire soul, I hate being a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Like, I do it all the time. I hate having a big heart because the big heart stabs me in my own heart. Like, it's like you give your heart out to people. It's like, okay, I'm going to take. The moment Leanne is down, Leanne is not okay today. Huh? What? We haven't been here before. This dynamic hasn't ever happened before in a friendship, or I don't know, just in a companionship. What do you mean you're not okay? What do you mean I now have to do something for you? What do you mean I now need to pour into you? We don't do this. You pour into me. You uplift me up. You have to cut those people. Family! Oh, if I talk, let me put a PSA. Everybody, do not be afraid to cut your family off. I beg. Don't let that auntie. Don't let that uncle. Don't let that sister. Don't let anybody say to you, you're being disrespectful. You see that phrase? You're being disrespectful. You're so disrespectful. Why are you opening your mouth? Why are you talking? They are your elder. You need to listen. Don't let that stupid generational rubbish go onto you. I beg, break that curse, because that one thing there. Hey, everybody, be a black sheep with your chest. I'm a black sheep with my chest, and I will forever and ever, and I will go to my grave being a black sheep. I don't give a heck.
Yay for the
Sorry, I
black
had to say that.
sheep.
Sorry, I had to say that. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Exactly. It's very important. Like, I didn't talk to my own biological dad, my one dad. He's not like separate from the family for almost 2 years because of his nonsense. And like you guys know now, some of you know here, he is my best fucking friend now. My dad is my best friend. And honestly, years ago, it was just so unfathomable because it was real hatred. Like, I don't hate things. Like, people come in and say, oh, you hate white people. I don't even have that much energy. Like, for my dad, I hated him. That if he died, I wouldn't have given a shit. It was that bad. My mum has been blocked on my phone for like maybe 3 or 4 years. Like, she's blocked, but I do unblock her sometimes if I need something or if I want to check in on her, you know. Again, yes, Leanne, it is. It's about protecting your mental health. When a family member tells you that you're supposed to be in contact with them, it's always for them. They're the ones that need you because you are the ones who've got the energy. You are the ones who've got the good spirit. You are the ones who've got the light. They are the drains and you are the radiators. That's why they need you. Parasitic. We've been talking about this term quite a lot recently. They are the parasites and they need you. So when you cut that off, you see them start scrambling. But then guess what? Everything starts to get a little bit better. And especially as people pleasers, I know for us, a lot of the problem is well, I don't know if I want to cut something off because I also need them too. And that's what a people pleaser does, right? It's like we need to actually feel wanted and we need to help people and we need to make sure that everybody else around us is okay, because if it's not, then everything will fall apart without me. No.
Yeah, we love
Life
fixing
goes on.
everything. Oh, it's
We
too
love
much,
fixing.
man.
Yeah, but then if you actually just let it go and start to step back, you know that this shit has always been falling apart. Actually, you didn't really fix anything, but it's like now you can accept that your things around you are a little bit not perfect, because it's the perfectionism as well, right? Like, we want everything to be so lovely and so simple and so straightforward and none of this, but that's not life. It's not life. Like, life is complicated and life is difficult and there are some challenges in it. So it's how we also, as people pleasers, be able to ride those waves too. That is very important. And that's why I always recommend therapy for everybody. Therapy for all. Yeah. Very cool. Yes,
I
what
don't know
got
if
us?
Leanne. Yes. Well, I think because I also cut off contact with my mother, and I think that also plays like back into women hurting you more than a man ever could. Like, My dad kind of sucks. Like he was my friend growing up, but he was like the better parent in my view as a kid. Right? You were kind of nice, and if I whined, I would get a Barbie. Um, my mom wouldn't do that. So I am still in contact with him, even though if I think about it, I should not be in contact with either of them. But he gives me money, so I can compensate that. That is enough.
Yeah, you need some compensation. Yes, definitely.
Exactly. With my mom, I will not get compensation, and also it just hurts more. So I'm just like, no, because I would rather, I don't know, have this idea in my head than have that be shattered every single time that I try. Right? Trying stops at some point. But I think
Yeah.
that one, because it's your mother, it makes it also much harder to forgive and to give more grace, because also internalized misogyny, but also because of what a mother is. I think it's very
Yes.
the duality of that.
Yes. Yeah, this is exactly what we talked about right at the beginning. Like the expectation of women includes the expectation of mother as well. And I don't know if anyone else can relate to this story. And I know it's definitely the oldest daughter story, is that when you have to step into the mother of a role of mother, it's frustrating. Like, I don't even have kids, but I've had to become the mother of my family and of my parents and the mother of my own mother. It is just like, oh God, like, and I felt myself so annoyed. And I even came across a TikTok the other day actually saying the same thing. It's like, why is it that our mothers have gone back into not knowing how to do anything anymore? They've literally turned into toddlers again. Like, my mum was brilliant. My mum was a nurse, and she was working like 6 days a week, and she was working as a nursery nurse as well. And she was doing her computer coursing, and she's doing all kinds of stuff, gardening and swimming and blah blah blah. And now I'm just like, you're like a newborn baby. It's literally doing my head in. Why can't you do anything? Why can't you do anything? Oh, your mum's a nurse too, and Julia can relate. Like, it's so frustrating. Like, I get so annoyed. And she always tries to say to me, oh, please have patience. I'm like, yeah, my patience ran out years ago, though. You're literally just dealing with the end part of it now. I had patience for you years ago, and you didn't take advantage of me when I had that patience back there. It's all gone. I don't have any more left.
Hey, also,
oh, look, everyone's nurses. Look at that.
yes.
Nurses, man.
Wait,
Real nurses.
wait, hold on. Is everyone mums? No.
Nurses. Yeah, look at that.
We're
Oh my
traumatized by
God.
nurses.
Julia, my mum worked at a nursery. Did I say that? Old people's home.
Yeah,
My
you
mother
said
Oh
worked
my
at
god, my mom too.
Yeah. Old people's home and a nursery. She was a
what the
nursery
hell?
nurse.
So this is what I genuinely have a suspicion, yeah? The mums that are the most caring to other people are the worst to their daughters. I've genuinely linked that together in the past couple of years. Because
Clock it.
how is it you can do everything else for everybody else? You can see everything.
Yes.
Your eyes are open, your mouth is wide, your arms are open. But me that came out your vagina. Me. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, mummy.
They obviously ran out of energy. They ran out of energy to care for the ones in their own home. And also, I think they also have an expectation that we can just look after ourselves. Like, my mum always said this as well. She said, but you were always more advanced than your years. And I used to see the way that you used to do things, and you used to look after your sisters and do things with your sister. And so I didn't really need to do as much. I said, I still needed my mother, and I still need her now. I still need at 42 years, I still need my mother now. But I still have got to that acceptance point. Julia, you were also called high functioning. Yeah, this is the spiritual journey. It's the oldest daughter story. It is, if you're breaking the matrix, coming out of the matrix, this is literally what woman is. It is unlearning and deprogramming what a mother actually is. A mother is only actually to bring us into the world. Our expectation comes from things like movies or the patriarchy. That's where it comes from. It's actually not what a mother is here for. A mother is just to birth us, truly.
Exactly.
And it's for us to navigate our own way in this life.
I just made a brain connection when Leanne said that. I also just realized that the most caring people for other people like themselves the least and will care for themselves the least. So since we are extensions of our mother and they don't like themselves, they also don't like us.
Yeah. I've said to my mum too before in the past, I'm like, Mum, I just feel like you don't like me. As I said, I feel like you just don't like me, mum. And she's like, no, no. But now I get it. I get it. Like, I think, I don't know if you guys can relate to this too, is that because we are sort of the first generation of independent women, mothers older, just like, how is she doing all that? I wanted to do all these things, but I had to become a mother. I had to become a wife. I had to give up my career. But we are the first generation of women to not actually have to do that. And I know that there's kind of a bit of bitterness in that as well. And I know my mother sometimes tries to live vicariously through me. If she sees something online that she really likes, like a dress or something, she's always like, oh, I saw this dress that would look really good on you. Or she wants to take me out shopping and stuff like that. And I'm like, Mama, do you feel like I'm living the life that you should have lived or something? And she said, yeah. She actually was honest and said yes. So I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. And that's why I do pay it back to her, you know? This is why I do send her on holidays and I tell her, oh, mum, look, come on, I'm going to take you out and do this thing because I want to make sure that she still feels looked after herself and she gets to experience the things that she didn't get to experience by raising me and my two sisters, and then having to give up parts of her career because my dad, had to be the person who had the career. Because patriarchy still would more reward the man going to do studying and go to work and things like that than the woman. So yeah, it's really interesting to be alive and to see the world is as it is now, and daughters' relationships with their mothers. Leanne, yeah, what's that you've just said, Leanne?
I was gonna say, I hate the fact that I have this, yeah, but like subconsciously, or I don't know, subconsciously, unsubconsciously, I don't know which one it is, yeah. But I always like whenever I see TikTok videos of like people like, oh, spend a day in the life and they're with their mom or they're with their dad. And I'm just like, especially when it's the white people, shout out to the white people that have a good relationship with their parents, yeah, because there aren't that many good examples of black people having good relationships with their parents. So it's refreshing to see it on like social media. But like it's in particular when I see it with like white people, especially when it's the daughter and their mom, I'm just like, damn, you guys just go to the hairdressers, or you can just like chat to your mom about like the boy you're seeing. Or like you can just be girly with your mom, or you can just talk to your mom. Like I know that sounds really stupid to say, but
Doesn't.
you can actually sit down and talk to your mum, and your mum is actually talking to you in the same
Yeah.
tone. Like she's not
She's
shouting at
like a
you.
friend. She's like a friend.
Yeah. And I'm like, I have never even looked at my mum and thought, oh, this is what it's supposed to have been, because I have my mum as an example. Then you have all the aunties and uncles around you as an example. So it's like, oh no, they're not supposed to be your friend. But then, whoa, when my brothers and sisters are now grown up, oh, you're their friends now. But like, you still want to be my mum, but then you want to be my brothers and sisters' friends. So you're changing your generational parenting, but I'm not allowed to be hostile towards you because you're being nice to my brothers and sisters and you're being the parent that you're supposed to be with me to my siblings. But I should give you grace because what I'm the child. I don't really get their narrative of, like on TikTok, or like when people say to you, yeah, but you only have one mom. And I said, that's exactly my point. I only have one mom and look how she treated me. So why is it me that has to give grace? Oh, ignore what she said. Oh, just give her respect. Oh, don't listen to what she says. No, because she's my mom, so I'm going to listen the most to what she's got to say. And when it's hurtful, you now want me to turn the blind eye. And then when I get into a narcissistic relationship, oh, I'm the one that's going to get shouted at because I should have known better. But actually, that narcissistic relationship is exactly how mummy was towards me. But you're having... That's why I don't get why people put so much weight on like daughters' shoulders, because like when I see women in like domestic abusive relationship, I know I'm going to the extreme, yeah, but when I see women in like domestic relationships or like narcissistic relationships, sometimes I don't actually blame them, because when I ask them questions about like their relationship with their parents, it's like, oh, you were seeking what you wanted from your mom in the man that you've got now. So I'm not actually surprised that you're in that dynamic. It's just you don't know better because that's sadly all you've been around. So yeah, I don't know why I brought that up, but it just reminded me of that with some of my friends.
Oh man, just this. Oh, we are unpacking today.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No apologies, honestly. It is so important, and it is so lovely. It's probably not the right word, but it really is important to do this, and it's interesting bringing up the DV part of it as well. Um,
And do you know what it is as
I
well? Even with the
yeah.
DV thing, yeah, not to cut you, but like even with the
Okay,
DV
go on.
thing, I see so many examples of like people's mums have sadly been in really sad situations. Like they've grown up in maybe like an abusive home, a domestic home, or an emotionally, because I don't think people speak enough about on like emotional abuse, because I think emotional abuse is just as bad as
It
domestic and
is.
physical.
It
And
is.
when you're a child and you're growing up in that environment, and then you grow up and then you're a woman and then you don't know no better, and then your mum gives a pass to her situation, but then she's very adamant on not giving you a pass on your situation. That's also like I've seen breakdowns of like my friends and their mums, like their breakdown of relationship because their mum fails to realize that even though it wasn't, it's hard to say, but to a degree, it is the mum's fault because you picked that partner at the end of the day. But it's
Yeah.
not fully your fault that obviously that was what happened in the relationship. But it's like mums need to take more accountability for either their surrounding that they had with their child, which sadly sometimes it isn't their fault. Like you can't blame a mom for the man beating people up. You can't. But in the same breath,
Yeah.
mom, you also had a choice to stay or leave, and you
To
chose to
stay.
stay. And
Yeah.
now that's my example of what daddies are supposed to be. And now that's my example of what a man is supposed to be. So
Yeah.
now when you're complaining that, oh yeah, Sarah's bringing home Jack and Jill and Bob and now you're complaining that, oh, you haven't married, oh, you haven't settled down, da, 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 da. But you showed me this. So why are you coming
Uh,
to me?
but at the same time though, Leanne, you are, and we, or whoever else can relate to this, because I can relate to this, is that like my mum used to judge me for having so many different boyfriends and partners. It's like, no, because I know I'm not going to settle now. I'm not going to go through what you went through. Like you keep saying, oh, look, you keep bringing home this person and this. It's because I'm searching. I'm not going to
Yeah.
set up with the first person that because they love me and they do this, and I'm more able now to look at the red flags and understand where my limitations are and know that I'm still learning every single day. I'm still learning. We're not born with the answers, right? So you can't expect to have a perfect relationship in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s, and you can't expect to have a perfect relationship at any stage in your life, because that's what we're here to do, right? Is to learn. It is to see what we do like and what we don't like and what we can tolerate and what we choose not to tolerate as well. So even when it comes to things like DV and the fact that you brought up the mental side as well too, it is very important, because sometimes you think as a woman, well, at least he's not beating me, but he's still
Mm,
doing all those other things. He's still controlling my money. He is still telling me how to spend my money, or he's still telling me, like, making comments about me in that dress, or that I shouldn't wear this and should do. And this is so unfortunate for women, is that we do want, not we do want, we need sometimes people to tell us that we're good people.
mm-hmm.
And I really think that it's going to make me very emotional thinking about this. I really think that women, just like we said with the people pleasing part, I think that's also part of it too. It's like, because especially if we come from homes where our parents didn't particularly love us very well, or they didn't nurture us. Of course, when you go into a relationship, is, yeah, women just want love. And sometimes the form of love that it comes in can be confusing, but we just take what we're given because we think, oh, do you know what? Maybe this is all I accept, or this is all I do deserve, or this is all that there is out there, right? This is what we think, and we just kind of accept what's there until something comes along and says, well, no, actually, you're not meant for this. You're not meant for this type of love. You're not meant for this type of relationship. And a lot of people now on this journey, I mean, I'm on it, is that we have been removed from the dating pool. We're not dating men anymore. We're waiting for the man or woman or whoever they identify as the partner to come through, whether it is just soulmate friends or if it is a romantic relationship. And even today, I was literally just like, I haven't felt about a relationship in a long time, actually. And because 2 years ago, when I had my spiritual awakening, it basically awakened me as a twin flame. Some of you guys know this phrase already, but it awakened me to a gentleman. I call him a gentleman, but basically he was a friend of mine for almost 20 years. And the universe awakened me like this was supposed to be my other person, bombarding me in my dreams. 70 dreams in over a year, 70 of the same person about relationships, but basically stuff I'd never even dreamed before. I was like, what the fuck? So it got me to think, well, obviously I'm not going to be dating, am I? If the universe is telling me this guy is meant to be for me, I'm not going to be dating. And as time went on, I was like, maybe it's not meant to be like that, actually. Is there another lesson that I'm supposed to have? But then my independence came back around again, and I was like, yeah, I'm so proud of everything that I've achieved in my own life. You know, I feel good. And I did feel like that before anyway. I felt really good. I felt really independent, and I just moved as well. So I was feeling really good. But then the relationship thing came about. And I was like, And only like yesterday or today was I walking around thinking, do you know what? I haven't thought about that in a long time. And then I thought, I actually don't need that. I would like a friendship, like, and I always kind of felt this anyway, like I wanted a friendship and a partner. But if my soulmate came along and it was my best female friend, and we were traveling together and we were doing business together and we could talk, we could do all those things, I would be so happy for the rest of my life. I really would be so happy, because I do miss companionship, and hopefully we get to cuddle sometimes. Like, I would like to cuddle because I miss the cuddle.
That's
But I
funny.
cuddle my dog. Yeah, I cuddle my dog now though, which is quite nice. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yinka.
I've not been in a relationship for such a long time, but a good friend of mine just turned up this week because we're going to be doing some music together, and we've been friends for 3 years. And but I really saw him as a soulmate friend, and we had that what you're just talking about. We were going around, doing music, recording, writing songs, having a cuddle at night, like nothing else. And it was literally just that. And I thought, wow, this is so good that I can have this friend, this male friend, and feel. We had such an amazing time together. We went to North Yorkshire, the Pennines, and camped, and it was great. And yeah, and like my life has just been. I always feel like I've had codes for like real deep relationship and union, but it's just not how my path has been. I've just had terrible relationships that have just opened my eyes up to the kingdom of men. So, but it ties back to my mum. Like I was saying in the chat, like my mum's blood rejected mine when I was being born. I forget what that's called. And I just feel like throughout my whole life, that's just how it's been. Like my birth marked our relationship, because I've got three other siblings, and she's really close with my older sister, and she's really close with my two younger brothers. And I'm just like this, I heard you say, Fox, that your mum would say, but you're so independent. And my mum would say that to me too. When I would ask her, like, why didn't you never hug me? Why did I never have a birthday? Why did you just never taught me anything? I was just left. And she said, oh, you just seem so independent. And I'm like, well, I need a mum.
Yeah.
And then she would put the Christian slant on it, because we had this huge fight about, we just weren't in alignment with our spirituality, where she became like a real strong Christian when we lived in Nigeria. And she carried that on when her and my dad divorced, when we came to England, and it was Christ in her house. And I love spirituality, so I delved into it, but I always understood it differently. And so even if she hated that as well, and then I think all through my life, anything that I accomplished, I would be like, look, mom, look, I accomplished this, but she would never ever recognize it. And it's only in the last few years where I've just sat back and been like, girl, you have accomplished so much. Give yourself the flowers you need, give yourself, that, because she's never going to accept you. The goalposts are always going to move. There's always going to be. And I used to watch her with my brother's wives, and also because I should say I'm mixed race. So she's a white woman with a brown daughter. And I feel that's really affected it, because of all my siblings, I'm the most African. And she's found that tough, I think, without putting it into words, without maybe even her knowing. And I'd watch her with like my white my sister-in-laws, and it would be this instant recognition, instant love to them, instant, giving them everything that I would have loved from her, as her daughter. And then again, moving it to the Christian side, how I feel like she almost wanted me to go through a real hard time, almost to bring me to God in a way. And like my life, like if I could write a story, has been unbelievably crazy. And I feel like they've all wanted me to do nothing, and they, like, be nothing, but I'm not, and I keep rising and I keep rising and I keep rising, and they're shocked. They're so shocked. They're just like, what, will this girl not stay down? Like, will she
Do you know
not?
what? I think you're the second person in the last week that has had the same story, talking about the identification of race and how dark your skin is in a mixed race relationship or mixed race family. There was another woman, I can't remember her name. She came up and said the same thing about how different she was treated. I don't know, Leanne's kindly shared quite a few stories about her experiences too, on that front. And I think it is really interesting. And I probably mentioned the same story before about how like both of my parents are black, and all both of my sisters are black as well. About how my parents had said then, we would prefer you to have a black partner, like date black, date black, date black, and none of us actually did. Yeah, I have dated a black guy before, but
Yeah,
both of my sisters are in long-term relationships with white guys, and
yeah,
my middle sister has two mixed race children, and that was when race really did become an issue to discuss, because my sister's boyfriend doesn't know anything about race, honestly, at all. And even to this day, and it actually became a big problem because he showed himself for not being someone who married my sister with understanding her race. He just, not married, sorry, they're not even married,
yeah,
had children with my sister just because he loved her, not because he understood her or
yeah.
understood the family, that
It's so
came with
important.
them.
It's so, so important. I mean, my
Yes.
mum, she never said I could be with a black or a white guy. She never said, but she always, always so down on black guys. Like, and, because, she obviously went with like the experience of my dad and her, and she kind of just projected that onto, other black men. So, and we were brought up in in white areas predominantly. And, I used to have fights with her, like, don't you make my brothers white? I used to argue and stuff. But yeah, and I'm 46, and I'm here thinking, gosh, I've never actually been with a black guy, but and my 9-year-old son said to me, Mom, maybe that's where you're going wrong. And I was like, yeah,
There's
you
definitely,
might be onto something
yeah.
there.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said, but this is what we also have to understand as well, is that just because if you go out with somebody of the same race as you doesn't mean they actually still understand the race. Like there are plenty of black men and black women who are anti-black. Like there's too many as well. So we have to use our discernment and actually just say the partner for being the partner. Do you understand me? Do you understand everything that happens to us in the white Western society? That's also really important too. Water Goddess has got some things that she wants to add, and then also we've got Des on the panel as well. We'll get Water Goddess first because you had your hand up, and then we'll bring Des into the conversation. Water Goddess.
Yeah, that hits me. This one hits me, right? Because my parents are both black. However, my parents are very different. My dad is quote unquote pro black and a Pan Africanist. I say quote unquote because, he's a man. And then my mother, my mother, she sees all the things, right? Colorist, texturist, featurist, all of the things. Like she would
Wow.
give me cream. However, she doesn't like white people. But she has much. Sorry, Inca, you have an echo.
Yeah, a little
Oh, I
bit.
hate. Can you mute me?
Yeah, you got some feedback in the back.
Thank you. Oh, that's much better. Okay, so she she has such empathy for white people because how she was indoctrinated, right? Like she was born in the 60s in Congo. Like that's like right after our independence, which was yesterday. Happy Congolese Independence Day. But she was very indoctrinated into one, like the way she was taught the history of colonization and slavery, she is convinced that if a Congolese person has a Belgian last name, it is because those enslavers thought of their slaves as family, because that is the indoctrination she has. Right. So she would tell me things like, oh, she would feel so bad because, back in the day before they enslaved us, it was so cold up there. So, like, for like clothing and life was so hard because I was just like, bro,
Oh Lord.
I don't know what to do with this. But I did start dating only white people for a very long time. I was like, I'm just gonna date white people because indoctrination. So then she would say, like, I don't like that. I don't like that you date white people. I don't really want them in my family. But lo and behold, my brother has a baby with a white woman. That is, of course, her favorite grandchild, right? Because he doesn't have horsey hair and he is not a light bright, but he is lighter skinned. The way she is nice to these white ladies that come into my house, I was like, you have never been this nice to me in your entire life. Never, ever. Like, it's so weird because I would prefer for us to live the lives that they have lived just a little bit better because of the opportunities that they have afforded us, but also just not. Like, it's such an odd, weird thing. And to go back, because you asked what it is like, or what we perceive being a woman is like in 2026, and I said it's like being European fruit in a supermarket because we were talking about that. It looks real good. Looks real
Yeah,
pretty.
we did talk about that.
Like
Yes,
nothing.
we did on Saturday. Yes, we
Yeah.
did. All pretty in the package and everything, and then when you get it, it's like, oh,
No, it's
it's
not. It
not
still
as.
sucks.
Yeah, yeah,
like especially having like black mothers that grew up, not in the West and just came here and think that birthing us here, giving us the opportunities that they did not have. It looks pretty, right? It looks pretty packaged, but the price is a simulation, which is you. You are the price.
yes,
They don't see
yeah,
that. And it's the same
yeah,
with a woman or a black woman in this day and age. Sure, your husband can't put a cage on your head with a metal rod that is poking in your tongue so you can't swallow or talk, right? That's illegal. But also, if you go to the police when he beat you, nothing happens, right? It's not
yeah,
that much better. It just
yeah.
looks better.
I think this is what the saddest thing is about colonization is that people don't realize the depths of how bad it is for the people who are colonized. Like they just don't see it, they don't get it. When we talk about it, it just goes so far over their heads. It is just such a like being colonized is a completely tragic thing. It is so fucking tragic that you don't have your identity, you don't have any connection to your people, your culture, your traditions, your sense of self. Like your whole identity gets taken away from you. Truly, your whole identity gets taken away from you. And identity is important of a world full of billions of people. Connection is important in a world full of billions of people. You know, it's just so crazy because colonizers think that their connection is literally a way to just connect with harming other people or racism. Like that's literally how they connect. Like we're seeing the colonizers at the moment just connecting through racism. That's all they have, and we just want to have sense of self, and connecting with self. Us connecting with ourself doesn't hurt people. It doesn't hurt anyone else, but colonization hurts people. It hurts people. So yeah, it's just freaking sad. Water Goddess has just dropped. I don't know if she's like got connection problems or something like that, but let me invite her back up. But yeah, we're talking about lots of different things today. But we've got Des on the panel today. Des, how are you today?
I'm good, thanks. Fox, how are you,
Yes,
darling?
I'm okay, not bad. So we're talking about lots of different things. This is just a women's conversation. We've had twists and turns with the conversation. So is there anything that you want to add? Anything that you want to get off your chest? Like anything you want to discuss? Yeah.
Well, I came in when you were talking about the DV stuff, which I've personally gone through myself a couple of times. I've been married twice, not successfully. I was just saying that I think a lot of the times, I think it was because I didn't have self-love that I allowed men to treat me that way. But I live on my own now. I don't live with a man. I'm 65 and I've decided that I'm just going to do it on my own because I just seem to attract the wrong people. But yeah, that's when I come in on it. But
Yeah, I think the self-love angle is like really interesting because I would say that I think we all do love ourselves in a way, but I think the level of self-love we need to have sometimes doesn't connect with how men are because men are just horrible. Like I think that they're just horrible. I think that the way that they treat us is just sometimes not connected with our sense of self. And I think if we try to separate it a little bit more, because there are certain things that we do for ourselves, right? If we get our hair done, that's self-love. If we get our nails done, that's self-love. If we have a good time with our friend, I love myself enough to go out with a friend. You know what I mean? Like, here we go, we're back. Very annoying. This platform is so ridiculous. Really ridiculous. This platform is so ridiculous. So ridiculous. I can't even. Like the shit that you see on this platform all of the time. The shit that you say on this people say on this platform. And I couldn't even just say what I just said without getting a violation. I'm on account warning again. I'm on account warning. I've had to, yeah, I'm on account warning. It's nonsense. It's just...
Neo, y'all see triple Kers on this app talking about all the things.
Yeah.
But you can't say what you just said.
No,
this is fascism.
Yeah, it fully is fascism. It fully is. Fully is. So it's ridiculous. As I was saying, is that I would like to just not tie women's self-worth with what we think about ourselves and how men treat us. What the previous person was saying, what Des was saying, is that she felt like she didn't have a high self-worth. And maybe that's what she might have felt. And I know that I felt that way too before. And I thought, maybe I don't love myself enough. But then, like I said, like I think that we did. I think that we do love ourselves enough. It's just men are able to do certain things and they're able to manipulate us in ways that we may not see. Right? I think that's what the problem is that they do that, and it becomes, a problem for us. And it is quite frustrating that, especially when we grow up in a world where we think that men and women are supposed to be together, is that you think that our stories are connected and our lives are connected more like this, where, when you're younger, or even actually, and it doesn't have to be tied to age, is that you think that a lot of your being is tied to what a man thinks about you, or how he feels about you, or how he perceives you. And then you wake up one day, or hopefully the universe wakes you up one day and says, no, I'm going to show you a different way. I'm going to show you that the path is of true independence. That's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you actually you don't need to tie your self-worth to a man. And of course the same goes for men as well, because sometimes, I mean, I believe in energy. Some people know this about me, is that I'm very much about energy. So it's the feminine energy that needs to become a little bit more independent from the masculine energy and learn how to work those two things together. And that's really, really important. Really important. Yeah. I can't believe they just shut down my life. I'm like still.
Yeah, because that was ridiculous. What do you mean?
Honestly, when you get a violation, they basically show you the clip of what you say that got the violation, and I was like, me saying that, ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous. Now I'm kind of scared if that man was just reporting.
Well, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, it happened so quick after it, and like I said, they showed the clip, so I don't. And there wasn't enough people in the room to have mass reporting, and it is really frustrating because when you do report stuff, it comes back with no violation. They can continue talking about what they're talking about. So I don't know. I don't know. I know that they don't like powerful women on this app anyway. Like, you know, this is account number 5, as I mentioned a few times. And yeah, that's why I have to try and build up these other ones as well, because I never know when I'm going to lose that other account. I know I am going to lose it because clearly I don't play by the rules of the patriarchy, or at least the white-led patriarchy. I've never played by the rules on this app, so I'm not going to have that other account for long. And yeah, do you know what? I'll be sad about it because it's the second time I've managed to build it up over 10k. The second time. Because the Goddess Fox 2 managed to get over to 10k. This one now is at 14, so I'm like, oh, you know, I made it, I'm making it. So yeah, I'll be sad if I lose that one, but I'll get over it, because that's what I just have to do, just get over it. Thank you so much for the compliment links, thank you. And on that night, I think it's probably good to just end it now anyway. It was good to come back and just, you know, say again what happened. I know I said some stuff in the chat there, in our group chat, in the moderators chat, about what happened. But yeah, hopefully I'll get it reinstated. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. Otherwise, it will just be on a ban for a few days. But I have this account as backup. So thank you so much, everybody, for that beautiful chat today. I think it was really good, wasn't it, Water Goddess? We talked about mothers. We talk about mothers. We did. And we talked about nursing. Like, that was crazy. Like, everybody's
that is
nurses.
still, I feel I need to study because that's weird.
Yes, that was very, very weird. Very weird. Yeah, it was like, oh my God, all of our mothers are nurses. And then, of course, we talked about the oldest daughter stories, or even just being as women in the family who were a bit different to everyone else. Of course, we talked about the racial element too. We talked about DV. Yeah, we talked about all those things. And I think it was a really beautiful conversation. So thank you so much to all the women who came by today, or all those who identified as women, and of course, non-binary people as well. Thank you so much, everybody, for this. This was a lovely conversation. And I will be back tomorrow morning for another conversation. So I hope to see you all tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m. GMT. Apologies to the person who wants to come up now. Link, sorry about that. I am ending the live. I was just on another live, but they just shut me down. I've just been talking about an hour and a half on the other account, and they've shut me down. So that's why I came onto this account. But please do follow. Please do click that plus sign up there for a follow. I have many different conversations. Like I say, today is women's only. Tomorrow I'll bring back another different topic. Saturday is a black only panel as well. And I run these lives several times a week. So yes, thank you so much. It was a beautiful conversation, wasn't it, Beth? It was lovely to share. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Goddess.